Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we are doing a Christmas baby boomer set of nails. Now I absolutely love a pink and white ombre, especially when you've got a little bit of added glitter, so I really loved how this set turned out and I hope you all enjoy watching. Now I have already applied my tips and a thin clear base, and for today's set we are working with the Young Nails acrylic system. So here I have their cover pink, and then for their white I have the speed white, and then I'm going to be encapsulating in their clear acrylic as well. So starting off, we're going to come in and apply the white. Now I haven't actually used this white very much, but I have to say it was really lovely to work with. Sometimes brighter white acrylics can be a little bit sticky and a little bit hard to work with, but this one was actually really nice to work with. As you can see, it blends out nicely, but it has still got a nice bright white color to it, and it was just really nice to work with. I didn't find any stickiness or anything like that. Now when you are doing any kind of ombre or blend, when it comes to applying your first coat of color, you want to pop it down and you want to make sure you're blending out the back of it. So as you can see, that's exactly what I've done there. Now in this set all of the nails are the same, so let me know if you like that. I tend to try and when I'm doing videos mix up the nails, but I really wanted this set to just look, all the nails to look the same, so that I could talk you through the steps a little bit better and explain what I'm doing in more of a tutorial style. So let's jump into doing that. So basically I apply my first bead of acrylic, I walk it down to the tip of the nail, and then I blend it back. Because this acrylic blends out nicely, I actually blend it back after I've walked the white down to the tip of the nail. If I have an acrylic that's a little bit harder to blend or sets quickly, then I tend to blend out the back of the bead first and then walk it down to the tip of the nail. So you'll see here when I'm blending it back, I'm just flipping my brush into reverse and simply just feathering that acrylic back, and we're doing this just so that there's not a harsh line where that white ends, because this way it really helps your pink acrylic to blend over the top nicely. Now for this particular design, I'm actually trying to keep everything nice and thin, because we've got to come in and apply our glitters and our Fimo slices, which can be a little bit chunky. So I am at this point keeping that white acrylic nice and thin, just so that we're not adding any unnecessary bulk. All I want this white for is the color, and because it's very highly pigmented, you are able to paint it on nice and thin without adding any unnecessary bulk. So I'm gonna leave that to dry before I come in and apply my pink acrylic, but in all honesty, by the time I'd got to the little finger, the pointer finger was dry, so we're able to start working over the top of that. I do always like to let my first coloured acrylic dry before coming in and applying my second bead of acrylic, just because I find that it then blends over the top a lot nicer. Now the first finger here, the pink went a little bit wrong, it wasn't the best application, so I'm kind of just trying to fix that up here. The first bead of acrylic that I'd picked up was just a little bit too wet, so it kind of just flowed a little bit too far down the nail. But once I have got that first bead of acrylic down, I've mainly using that first bead of acrylic to create the blend. Then I move on and apply my second bead of acrylic, just to build up that apex area slightly and to cover the nail bed and make sure that everything is fully opaque as well as blended out nicely. These two colors blended together absolutely effortlessly. I can't get my words out today. They blended together absolutely effortlessly and created a really nice, pretty, soft blend. Because I'd messed up a little bit with the pink acrylic, I did come in with a little bit more white just to fix that up, but I'll talk you through the steps more on the next nails as they went a lot better. So first up, I always like to pick up a small to medium sized bead, taking it from side to side, and I'm using this bead to basically start creating the fade. This way you can tell how easily an acrylic colour is going to fade down over the previous acrylic that you've laid down, which makes it a lot easier to work out kind of the consistency you want your next bead of acrylic. Because it blends out absolutely beautifully, I've picked up my next bead of acrylic kind of with a medium to dry consistency, placed it down right at that cuticle area, tapped it into place around the cuticle, and then because I know that it blends nicely, I'm able to just pull it down and gently start blending it out. I do tend to work differently depending on the acrylic I'm using and the color I'm using, especially when doing ombres, so you do need to kind of gauge this depending on the system that you are working with. Then as you can see here, I'm using my brush to really feather out that color, really blend it down over the white. until I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to move on to the next nail. If you're not 100% happy with your blend and you've worked nice and thin with your white, you can of course come in with another bead of white at the very tip of the nail to perfect that. So moving on, we're going to do exactly the same again. So you see, I always like to just apply this first bead to create the blend. I find it a lot easier to do a ombre in two beads at the nail bed area rather than coming in with one bead, because if you come in with one bead, you've got to come in with this down at the cuticle area, get your cuticle application neat, leave enough product there to cover the nail bed, and then you've also got to use all of that bead to create your blend. I find breaking it down into two beads just makes the blend go a lot more smoothly. And then this way I just find the application, for me anyway, goes a lot easier because I've already got enough product down at my cuticle area that I don't necessarily need to come in and encapsulate all the way down to there. And I just personally have always found this way my personal preference when it comes to doing any kind of ombre, whether it be a coloured tip ombre, a glitter ombre, whatever it is. I just find this way it works a lot easier. Now, if you wasn't adding the glitter, you could build up your thickness with your ombre a little bit more and then just come in with a thin layer of clear to encapsulate, as long as the acrylics you are using are core or strength powders. I'm keeping everything fairly thin on this set, especially in the blend and tip area, because we're going to be applying those glitters and the Fimo pieces, so they do need to be encapsulated. If you know that you're going to be encapsulating anything, you need to work on keeping your base fairly thin, which is what we've done here today. So then for my glitter, I'm going to be using the beautiful Mistletoe Kisses from Charlie's Nail Art. I love this glitter because it's a little bit different. It looks like a classic hex mix when it's in the pot, but it's actually little teeny tiny squares, which is just a little bit unique in all honesty. I really love it. The colors are perfect for Christmas as well. And then these little Fimo pieces, they're also from Charlie's Nail Art as well. So first of all, I'm going to apply the glitters, kind of applying them a little bit like a base for the Fimo pieces, just because I didn't want to just stick the Fimo pieces on there. I wanted there to be a little bit of sparkle to the nails. So to apply my glitters, I pick up a really teeny tiny clear bead of acrylic. I'm going to show you guys here. So as you can see, it's a smidge of clear acrylic. I pick that up and then I dip straight into my pot of raw glitter and pick up my glitter, and then I'm keeping my brush quite wet. So as you can see, I've placed that glitter and acrylic mix down onto the nail and I hadn't wiped off until now. And then by keeping your brush nice and wet, you're able to move those glitter pieces around into place without them all clumping and sticking together. And then if needed, I just go in with my wet brush and pick up a few more glitter pieces if I need to add any more. I don't tend to always pick up acrylic with the additional glitter pieces, because where I've picked up that acrylic in the first bead for the first round of glitter, if I tend to find that I need a little bit more, I find that there's going to be sufficient enough acrylic down for those glitter pieces to stick into, because we're going to be encapsulating anyway. So then I'll just pick them up with my wet brush and apply them. We're going to move on and do this on all the nails, and for this particular design I wanted my glitter to be in the center of the nail, kind of fade back into the pink and then fade up into the white, but predominantly keeping it all in the center of the nail. But I want to blend out the edges just so it doesn't kind of look like there's some glitter just plonked down in the center of the nail. And I really liked how this looked, especially where you've got the white pieces thrown in with the glitter as well, kind of add something extra to the nail rather than just sparkles. And it's a really easy design to do as well, and one of the reasons it's quite good and easy and beginner friendly in my opinion, because if your baby boomer ombre nail underneath isn't perfect, if your fade isn't perfect, you're kind of covering that up a little bit with the glitter. So it's a great design to do if you are new to any kind of ombre nails. Now over the top of this, I want to apply my Fimo pieces. Now like I said, these can be a little bit chunky. They are fairly thin, but they are still like a chunky something on the nail. So this is why you do need to be careful. Bear in mind where you're placing them down. Like I would never place these down at the cuticle area, because they are going to look chunky when it comes to encapsulating. I'd only probably place them down at the cuticle area if I wasn't really doing anything else with the nail, if I wasn't doing any kind of ombre, or if I was just going to pop down a wash of colour and then the Fimo pieces. Just because of how chunky they are, you need to be able to encapsulate them. They are going to add a little bit of bulk, and down at that cuticle area is especially where you don't want any bulk, and the same goes for right at the very tip of the nail. I kind of like to apply these either in the apex area or in the center of the nail like I'm doing here, because this is where you add your thickness with your acrylic anyway, so it disguises any bulk that they might add. And then to add them, all I simply do is pop down a wash of clear acrylic and place them into that wet acrylic, and then I leave everything to set in place before I come in and encapsulate. And how cute do they look, by the way? I loved these little Fimo pieces. I thought they looked really fun. I tried to use a mix of them so that I could use all of them in the set of nails. We're then going to come in and encapsulate. So I'm taking a fairly medium to wet bead of acrylic, working with it slightly wetter so that it gets around any chunky pieces we have got on the nails, so in this case those Fimo pieces. And also by working slightly wetter with your acrylic and pointing the nail downwards, the acrylic is just going to flow into place with you doing minimal work. The less work you do with your clear acrylic, the less chance you have of putting bubbles in it or getting any shadow in and things like that. The less you play around with it, the more crystal clear your acrylic application looks. So then I'm moving on, applying my next bead of acrylic and blending this in at that cuticle area, but I'm not taking it all the way up to the cuticle area because I have already built that area up with my cover pink. So I'm mainly at this point building up the rest of my apex, which my apex is a little bit further down the nail than what it normally would be. I usually tend to have it more in that back third, but I brought it down slightly just because of those chunkier pieces. And then also I'm making sure that everything is encapsulated. And then with this bead, I'm just going to place it down right in the center of the nail and keep this just down the spine of the nail, just to build up a little bit more thickness there and to make sure everything's fully encapsulated. You do need to make sure everything is encapsulated, otherwise it's going to come off when it comes to filing. You're basically going to file into it and file off. Talking of filing, I did finish off all of the rest of the encapsulation off camera, and then I did all of the filing and buffing off camera as well. Gave the nails a good clean, so we're ready to jump into top coating. And here I'm using the Young Nails, I think it's called Ultimate Finish or Ultimate Shine top coat. It's a really lovely top coat, but it is a little bit more on the thicker side. But I really like that for going over an acrylic set of nails because it really gets into any scratches that are on the nail from filing and fills them in and leaves you with such a beautiful high shine finish. I do just find it's a little bit trickier to apply because it's a little bit thicker, so I do just spend a few seconds like really working it into the nail and evening it out. But if you leave it for a couple of seconds, it does self-level beautifully anyway. Once I have finished applying this to all of the nails, I'm going to pop them in to cure for 60 seconds, and that, guys, is the end of the design. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought of this set. I really hope you all enjoyed watching them because they was a lot of fun to do. They kind of, in my opinion, are quite salon friendly to do. If you've got any long or any acrylic clients, they're very easy and quick to do. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you did. I do have some glitter hauls coming up very soon which have been requested. I'm just waiting on a few more things to be delivered before I make a start on the videos, so do keep an eye out on my channel for those. And of course, if you do have any requests of anything you would like to see, let me know in the comments below and I will give them a go. I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I hope you're all getting in the festive spirit. I feel as though it's a little bit of a struggle this year to get into the festive spirit, in all honesty, but I'm trying my best and I'm definitely still loving doing all the festive nails. So I hope you all enjoy the videos I have to come. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.